Welcome everyone to the Extracting Value series webinar. My name is Jennifer Triana. I'm the Software Processing Manager here at TopoDOT. And I have here Mike Cook, Senior Applications Engineer, doing the heavy lifting. We also have Mauricio Ternia, Senior Developer, answering some questions in the background. So feel free to send us any questions through the chat. And we'll be replying as we go along. We'll start with a short presentation and then we'll do a demonstration, run it up with a summary and questions at the end. Unfortunately, Ted is not going to be present, but I think we got it. So today we'll be talking about the break line extraction new feature called the AutoFit. And so basically the break line extraction tool is still the most used tool in TopoDOT. As you can see in this pie chart, the breakline extraction tool is the most used out of all the tool set in TopoDOT. And we want to show you how we've improved it and made it more automatic. As you can see, the breakline extraction tool has been a part of TopoDOT from the very beginning, and we've updated over time to speed up the breakline process. And even though we've introduced the template extraction tools a couple of years back, you still rely a lot on the breakline extraction tool. So we've added the AutoFit feature. So what is this AutoFit update? We want to show you how we've integrated template extraction method into the breakline extraction tool to reduce adjustments up to 90%. Basically, if you're not familiar with the template extraction tool, I'm going to run this quick video here, and it's basically a automatic extraction of break lines by template or a shape. We know that the limitations on this tool are that the template is rigid. So if your shape is changing constantly, the tool maybe just ignores it. So we know that that is part of the limitation of this automatic extraction. And there is also the assessment method. It's not as comprehensive as it is on the breakline extraction tool. So we developed the AutoFit function within the breakline extraction tool to achieve these 3 steps, basically. It locates the data profile. It basically identifies where is the break, just like in the template tool. But different from the template tool, it adjusts template and it allows you for manual adjustment if there needs one. Okay, so that's the flexibility of the breakline extraction tool, is allowing you to see this cross section and making sure that the points are in the correct space. And there's going to be a lot of cases where you have debris or you have noise or you have misalignment, where the automatic tool doesn't know that, but you as the user know that, so you can make that adjustment. And so with that flexibility, we added this automatic function within the tool. So basically the AutoFit is going to look like a shape around your template, and it's going to have a buffer, and it'll adjust it for you automatically. So you will really see the productivity pick up in areas where there is a changing break with relatively clean from debris like overgrown grass or dirt or water. In places, for example, like city curbs where you have to adjust constantly due to elevation changes or shape changes. In this example, this picture here that I'm showing you, I basically took this 100-feet line and run the tool in the many different ways we have, and it basically took 18 clicks on the normal way on the the way we've used it in the past, down to 2 clicks using the auto fitting process. So you can definitely decrease your adjustments by 90%. Now, it's not always the case, and Mike will go over more of how to use these ideally and where is it useful. So that'll be part of the demonstration. So I'm going to pass it along to Mike, and he's going to show us a little bit more about the tool and answer some questions. Take it away, Mike.
Thanks, Jen. All right, so we're going to kind of start off with a curve example, and then I'm going to take you into kind of a barrier example. So first thing to do is set up some form of a guideline. I'm not going to take you through that process, but getting a paint stripe line, you can essentially do a move parallel. Now we want this line to be somewhat close, and you'll kind of see why as I go through with this tooling. We'll open up the tool, click Start, and we have to set up our template. And we do this just like we always do. Set the red point, you got your green points, and back. Now the outline here is basically coming from this auto fitting option. So this is turned on. I have show preview. Now there's also a mode in here which kind of controls how this template is built. And the default one that you should probably go to is going to be the X sorted for most cases. Your another second best option will probably be template points only, X sorted, and in the creation order. For now, I'll probably be sticking with these ones. And then this one's going to define basically your width here. So let's kind of add to this. So let's say we wanted to add in some temp points to improve this fitment. So we'll go ahead and add a point. Click in here, and you can kind of see it adjusts with it. If I want to add some more complexity to this, we can adjust this point. Typical to what we normally recommend is having a center point here for this to auto adjust. And then I'll deactivate that adjustment. And what I can do is I can anchor these points in like so. And that way they're kind of like tied in. You can also, set this up how we normally do. Just like so. And then if you're ever going to move this, just make sure you move it from the center point. I'm holding shift right now. Okay. Once this is set up, I would recommend saving it, just because when you close the tool, it's basically going to force you to rebuild this. So go ahead and save that, and you'll have that available when you load in the future. All right, so let's get started. I have a left and right value of 5, so I'm kind of keeping this close to my feature. I'll extend it in a little bit to try and get it to dart off, but for the most part, if you keep it nice and tight, guidelines fairly close, you can start accepting, and it's basically going to project forward, fit the template, and then do any type of adjustments. Okay, so all the user has to do is kind of click, accept, or hit enter at this point, and just let the template do the work. If there's any adjustment that needs to be made, do it from the red point first, and then let this adjust. So now you have a new template, so when you jump forward, it's going to fit that new template. If I increase, let's say, the left by 20, 20, we'll accept this one, and there we go. Okay, so this is what I'm kind of talking about. This is something you want to kind of look out for. Is if you experience this, just double check your dimensions here. You don't want to look too far left and right. And what you can also do is kind of just toggle back and forth to get an idea of how this is actually fitting. All right, so it fits every time. So every time you go to a new position, it's fitting. If you set your position, it's fitting. Let me load a couple of other examples. templates here. So we'll go ahead and I'll disconnect my lines and I'll start a new sequence. And we'll include like the edge of payment this time. So just like I had mentioned, we want to keep this tight because now we have a longer segment here. And if we have a long segment that's flat and you have something that's flat over here, it could potentially pull it over. So as long as we go with those recommendations, we should be okay. So I'll accept this one, jumps forward, does the same thing. Now in this case, I have my edge of payment also adjusting. So you can still apply that to your actual points. And when I say points, I just kind of want to clarify. You have your main template points, let's call them like colored points, and then there's these new temp points, which are the O's and X's, and then the O indicating adjust, X and indicating a non-adjustable point, as in it doesn't automatically adjust the data, but you could still move it. And then just to kind of tie this in, let's go to an area with a ramp. So I'll go ahead and disconnect, set my position here. And the idea is we use the look ahead feature. Okay. I'm just kind of adding this on, but essentially when you accept and you encounter something that is dramatically changing, you have this look ahead option, basically this little block here, which allows you to move forward and backwards. So you can easily go to the high side of something. And when you encounter something flat, your template's going to change and you'll see right away. But you want to move it by grabbing it and then positioning it, and it will readjust for you. So we'll accept those points, and we'll do the same thing. You can either back up or use this preview panel. So I'm going to go to the high side on this one, do a move template, set the points, and we're pretty much done. Now, what I'm going to do is hit the pause or break key to leave a gap, and we'll see why I leave a gap in a second, but we'll hit accept. And let's go ahead and move our template, enter, and so on. And looks like I might be either looking at too much data, or maybe I shouldn't have incorporated my edge of payment here, but I can just easily change this as needed. Okay, so coming back to this, we're just going to tie in a smart cell here. So I'll grab my points. We'll go into the smart cell tool. I'm going to grab my ramp. Let's drop it in there. And now I have a ramp to work with. And at that point, just move your drag points where they need to be. And you're done. You can use the image, top view, doesn't matter, but that's how you would kind of approach any type of ramp situations with these templates. So now that I've done the curb option, or the curb example, we're going to look at a barrier. So let me go ahead. Now I already have paint stripe lines set up here as well. If you're not familiar with how you extract paint stripe lines, the new method is basically using a picker option, and the idea with that is to use the picker to set the range for you, and then line extraction becomes much simpler that way. So we're just going to run off of this line. Let's go into our break line tool, and I have some templates already, so let's do the whole side. Let's do one side. I'll hit start, and you can see my template has already been fitted to the data. So just like before, every time you advance or set, it's going to try and fit this template for us. And I'll just take a look at this. So we have backer curve, top. I've tied that in or anchored it to my point up here. I've added a temp point, and now I just have my flow point right here. Once we go, we hit accept, it jumps down, and it's going to try and fit itself perfectly fine. If you have to do any adjustments, adjust with the red point first. and so on. You can even, if you wanted to, add an adjust point up here um, to control the height as well, but it's up to you. This is just kind of to give you an idea of how to build a different style template on a different object. So this is kind of a straightforward example. Let's see how we can kind of take advantage of this as well. So let's say we want to just do the top. So what I'll do is let's go ahead and disconnect our lines. I'll load in a new template, and we'll just do the top here. It's actually pretty cool because you can knock out 2 points at once. You could do one corner at once, and at this point, it's almost uh, bulletproof or 100% accurate in this case. Even if I hide the ground, it just further improves it. So, I haven't mentioned this yet, but with your ground routine, if you do a ground routine and hide the ground, well, all you're doing is you're just isolating the barrier itself, and just basically hide the ground, leave the low data in there. Um, it just helps improve if there happens to be anything nearby. But this shape here, there's nowhere else does this shape really occur within the vicinity of this barrier. So we can at this point literally just start hitting accept or enter, and it's going to constantly adjust horizontally, vertically. And I'm just hitting enter right now, and it's knocking out the 2 top points. If you need to, further improve this, let's say the top part kind of jumps into either the ground or something nearby, make these longer. You're giving it a better chance of fitting with these longer segments too. So we'll just keep going, and that's kind of an example there. Now let's say we just wanted to do one corner of this. It's even better. So we'll do load, pull in one corner, and we go ahead and start a new sequence of lines. So we'll accept that, and so on. Now I was going to jump into a guardrail example, but we're all familiar with basically the previous tool that has been integrated into the brake line tool now. But that is let's put in position here. There we go. So rather than trying to build a template for this, I would recommend using the existing tool, which is basically the template extraction tools. Building a template and then using it on the guardrail. This is the previous tool's going to do the job in this case versus going through and stepping through with this tool. So I think that's pretty much what I wanted to show. I guess we can open it up for questions at this point, and maybe some other examples if that happens as well.
Sure. So based on what Mike just showed you, obviously this is new, and I had a question here on the chat, and Bernardino Armas was asking about whether this tool would be available in MicroStation VDI or TopoDOT 32-bit. And unfortunately, the way this template function works, it's only available in the Connect edition. So it can only exist for 64-bit. I mean, you can still use a lot of adjusting functions within the 32-bit version, but it's only going to adjust vertically, not horizontally. So hopefully that helps, but we're hoping that most people can upgrade to the Connect edition, if not soon, but it's in the foreseeable future, and that's where we're doing most of the development because it's only possible in that environment. So, does anybody else have any other questions? You can raise your hand within the GoToMeeting function. or you can just type it in. So while that's going on, Mike is here showing you how it is all of this information is also available in the wiki. So you should be able to see more insights about this tool and how to use it. And we are also working on our updating the videos for the university. So this will also be included in those videos, which should come out early January. Um, so I have another question here. Is there a limit to 10 points or the 10 points between two template points? Mike.
I don't think there's a limit. If there was, it would probably be a very high number. Let's say 100 points.
That's
But let's go ahead and add some. Yeah, there's no limit.
uh, so so what you need to know though is that even though there is no limit, you technically want to try to keep it within a localized area. So we've known that a lot of people, for example, want to do both sides of the road at the same time, and breaks happen in different ways in different uh, positions. So we recommend that you not only use the brake line extraction tool in localized areas, so one curve at a time, one brake line at a time. You can do multiple lines, obviously, but just one section at a time, and it'll guarantee much better results, especially if you're going to use the auto-fitting function. We have another here. How did you do the pause or gap in brake line extraction?
That was with the you
Option.
want to answer that
Yeah,
one?
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was going to say, as you're skipping through and you're placing these, basically, if you want to leave a gap, you use the keyboard pause break feature. It's the same thing as toggling the connect lines on and off.
What is the keyboard?
So here we'll go to this region right here. I'll set my position. We'll do a couple of points. So I'll just accept. We're creating our lines, right? And then at this point, you use the pause break option. I think we have to, yeah. Basically, once this is set and I use the pause break option, see how the preview lines have dropped? Basically, I'm just starting a new sequence of lines. So now that I accept this and continue forward, I have left a gap in between. So again, just to repeat that, it's the same thing as toggling this on and off, or starting on the same line and setting your position somewhere else and leaving a gap.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be close to the backspace button on your keyboard.
Okay, great. So Martin Taylor here has another question. Are you recommending using the template extraction for more complex shapes like the guardrail? So where do we want to use the template extraction tool, basically?
The previous template extraction tool.
Yes, yes.
I would probably say on barriers, on rails, those are a little bit more consistent. This was to integrate within this interface so we can see the change occurring, because barriers and curbs are changing a little bit more in shape and profile than like a guardrail or a rail profile would.
Yeah, so basically we want to use the template tools where there is a consistent shape. So the template tool will adjust only if the template is the same. So you can use it in long segments of barrier, for example, guardrails and things like that that are unchanging. If you have a curve that changes a lot in shape or height, or maybe broken, more complex area or something like that, that's where you can definitely benefit from the auto-fitting tool on the brake line extraction. Are you recommending? Martin Taylor says here, are you recommending using the template extraction for more complex shapes like the guardrail? Oh, I guess it's the same question. Never mind. Let's see. Andrew Million is asking any other neat tools that are in the works. Okay. We I guess we have a lot, but we tend to focus on the tools that you guys are using the most, and tools that we keep hearing back about, improving, adjusting, etc. So definitely, as you saw from the pie chart, we know that the breakdown extraction tool is the tool that is being used the most, and that's why we want to focus on these. And definitely, we know that TopoDOT is the application most used for breakdown extraction on static, mobile, and airborne applications. So we definitely focus on the breakdown extraction. But Mike talked about a couple of other options within the paint extraction, paint or extraction by intensity. We've been working on a couple of improvements for that too. So as soon as we push those out, so we will do a little bit more or another webinar on that, and so you'll hear more about that. Also join our newsletter. There is a new newsletter that we're doing quarterly that is very focused in there is no spam or anything. It's just once every quarter, and it has all of this great information that you guys are looking for. So definitely join our new newsletter. Okay, so I'll bring it back to my screen. Here you go. And let's see. So in conclusion, something that you have to remember is, as Mike showed, that to keep your dimension box in the right size to avoid the tool picking up other features around, whether that is due to density or maybe the shape is more similar in another area. It's something that you can do to limit that error is by adjusting your dimension box closer to the break line. Also, if you choose a close guideline to the break, then you have less error possible errors, and then maintain it on a focus area. So not only do one section of break line at a time, one barrier, one curb, not across the street or anything like that, but also use it in areas where you know that is useful, like on long segments of break, and where you have driveways, ramps, inlets, and things like that. You can use the smart cells, and that way you don't have to constantly be changing your shape. So we wanted to basically use the quality assurance of the breakdown extraction tool with the automation of the template tool, and hopefully this will improve your extraction efficiency. It will welcome any comments, suggestions. So please try it out. If you have MicroStation, Connect, or TopoDOT 64-bit, we will love it if you try it and give us some feedback. And all of that is welcome to keep improving our tools. And finally, we wanted to thank you for spending the time this lunchtime with us, or whatever you are in the world. Thank you for taking 30 minutes with us, and hope that you guys have happy holidays. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.